we became homeless at the start of COVID, and they kept saying 2 more weeks. It's just 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks of lockdown, and then we'll be fine. We're back out of it. And they kept saying that over and over again for like 8 months. And by the end of it, we're like, what the fuck? What is going on? And plane flights back to Australia were like 10K. And
Crazy.
Yeah, eventually saved up enough to get one.
So you actually did pay 10K to come back to Australia?
It was like 6 or 7K. It was like
USD?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 15. I'm Spencer Hosking here. He's a mindset coach at the moment. He's a jack of many trades. So welcome to the podcast. Great to have you on. I think we only got in touch fairly recently, and he's a good mate of Josiah Dungy, who was on episode 12, or was it 11? Probably 11.
11. I saw it.
Yeah, you watched it?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw some clips.
You enjoyed it, yeah?
Yeah. I love all the videos and the editing, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so you have a video editing background as well.
Yeah, well, I've been in YouTube for since I was like 11 years old. I started a YouTube channel, and I've just been editing like videos since then for 12 years basically, and yeah, honing in my skills there. YouTube basically was my full-time thing when I was living out in America. Lived there for 10 years on a visa that didn't allow me to actually work and get a job, and so I was living with my parents there, and I just had to work online basically and make money through YouTube, through Twitch, e-commerce, and yeah, I couldn't actually get a normal job.
So you escaped the visa matrix.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's quite a good loophole actually to make money if you weren't allowed to the traditional ways.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like illegal in some way, but it's like, you know, it wasn't that much money. It was just enough to like buy my food, pay for what I needed to do, and it was like necessity, you know, like I'd even be like selling drugs out there as well, and it was like, you know, anything I had to do to just make the cash to be able to survive really, because my home life wasn't that great and it was a bit of a struggle. So
do you think it was like almost a blessing in disguise that you couldn't make money traditionally, so you had to kind of become an out-of-the-box thinker to make your first kind of dollar?
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%, because most people here, they're so ungrateful for their jobs, just normal 9-to-5 jobs, that they're like, oh, you know, like I just want to go start my own business and work online, and I come here and I'm like, damn, I'm grateful as fuck.
Yeah,
to just
I want to
be able
work
to
in
go
a
and
cafe, you know, kind of thing. Yeah.
I worked in a warehouse and I did roof plumbing and I just did like these shit jobs, and I was grateful as fuck for them, and I just tried my 100% best in it and pushed myself to the limit because I was just so grateful to actually have a normal job for once, especially because I was coming from COVID, which made my whole family homeless during COVID, and it was like a real struggle there. And so when the flights finally came back after COVID and I was able to get a flight back to Australia and get a normal job, it was like, wow, so grateful.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's amazing perspective to have. I know a lot of people, especially like, you know, people that I know that work 9 to 5, it's like they hate their job. They hate Mondays. They don't want to go to work. But for you, it's like you're almost like you're grateful.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Like when I was living in America, all I thought was if I could just get a normal 9 to 5 job, like I would be living the dream. Like because I was forced to basically become a master networker and just be able to make the connections that I wanted with people, to be able to get the things and the experiences and the money that I needed and that I wanted. And so living out in Vegas, networking is a really big thing in Las Vegas. And so my ability to meet people just kept growing, and I just focused on that and I doubled down on that because that allowed me to get more opportunities and things. And so from there, I was able to go, well, if I just get some money on top of this, then I'm killing it, right? Yeah. But I couldn't get it out there. So when I moved back here, I was like, wow, I got the money, but the opportunities are a bit less in Perth compared to like bigger cities. Like, I
suppose less people, less possibilities.
Yeah, there's a bit less going on out in Perth, but it's still like, you know, if you know the right people, it's growing. You can get stuff done.
Absolutely. So you've been in Perth for 2 years, you say. Before that, you were in America for 10 years.
Yeah.
But you're originally born in Melbourne. So you guys moved to America around 2011?
Yeah. Yeah, 2011, we moved there. My whole family just moved out there. My dad got a job on the Strip in Las Vegas. He started a show out there called the Australian Bee Gees tribute band. And it was, it's a pretty good show. He's still doing it out there. But that show got shut down during COVID.
Right.
And we were left with no money, no savings, nothing. Went homeless, had to move in with some friends and bounce around on people's couches and stuff. And it was a mess, man.
How long were you homeless for?
Probably about almost a year.
That's
it was
rough.
Like eight months.
Any nights in the street?
No, but we had all our stuff in the car, and I remember just sitting in the car with my girlfriend at the time being like, this is fucked, and I'm never going to let this happen again.
Homelessness takes, I suppose, many shapes and forms. Like, if I heard homeless, I'd think of someone on the street in the city, kind of like sitting down, like cardboard, like kind of paper, but obviously your situation was a little bit different. So I think it's good to bring light to like the different forms of homelessness.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it, man. It's crazy. It's like we were looking at homeless shelters and stuff, and we couldn't even find any, and it was like we couldn't even find any opportunities or any resources for homeless people out in Vegas. It was just terrible. I mean, all the homeless people out there just live in the tunnels pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like underground tunnels, and they get flooded out of them sometimes, and it's crazy. And so we didn't want to do that. And so I just, I used, again, my networking capabilities, then my network that I had made to basically say, yo, like, can I come stay on your couch? And so many people like turned me down, and they're like, nah, like I can't have you come and stay on my couch. Even my best friends. And it was like, fuck, man. And so, eventually we found some people who would let us come and stay. And we just slept on an air mattress, and took a while, but eventually grinded it out to just get my own place
and get back on your feet.
I had to start a GoFundMe basically, and just like beg for money, and it was humiliating, right? But I had to get a roof over my little sister's head. Absolutely. I had to get a roof over her head because she was suffering, and that was my motivation. But after that was like rock bottom for me, because I was like, this shit is never gonna happen again, ever. Like, I'm gonna do everything in my power now to make sure that I can provide for not only myself, but everyone else in my life who I need to. So that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because Vegas has quite a lot of homelessness, doesn't it? Like,
it's rampant.
And also the thing that you said about your best friends turning you down, I suppose you were homeless in like one of the toughest economic periods in time in like the modern day. Like COVID obviously would have affected a lot of people that you knew. So even like for them to let you sleep on their couch was, something else.
Yeah, no, it was definitely tough for everyone, and it was just a time period that was super uncertain for everyone, and it was crazy. But we made it work. We did what we have to, and I basically spent the whole time streaming on Twitch as well, like live streaming on Twitch, just like literally playing video games while I was like homeless staying at someone else's house. I was playing video games and making YouTube videos to make money, because that's the only thing I knew how to do. It was like, that's what I got to do. I can't go get a job. I can't get any unemployment benefits. There's no like Centrelink or anything like that, especially for Australians. And so it was like, well, what am I going to do? Make some YouTube videos, I guess. And it worked. And I started making more money than my whole family just doing that. And then we're like, holy shit. And then got my own place and bought a ticket back here just so I could go and get a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. It's like, because that is something that people take for granted so much, because there's a ton of people who would kill just to be in your position. Just to be in your position where you have to get up at 7 a.m., go to work at 9, and get home at 5.
I always think about that. Like, so like you said, right, you have to get up and you have to go to work. Some people can't even get up. Some people can't even walk to the car to drive to work. Some people don't even have a car to drive to work.
Yeah.
Some people don't have food to eat before they go to work. So I think we take so much for granted, but we're all so like congested in this like little rat race and matrix, as you say, to try and escape and try and like ascend to a higher level, like socially and economically, that we don't even remember how much we've already done. And I don't think people are content enough. Like, it's good to be hungry, it's good to be ambitious, but you need to have that level of contentedness as well, and satisfaction with your own life, so that you can propel to the next level.
Yeah, 100%. It's gratefulness, right? You need that, but you also need the drive and the vision to be able to see what's possible.
And how do you balance that? Because that's such, like, you need to get almost into an equilibrium where you're grateful and ambitious.
Yeah. I mean, you got to surround yourself with 3 types of people. The people who are below you, who you can help, the people who are your peers on your level, and the people who are way above you to motivate you. And you need all 3.
Yeah. So you kind of build a network of mentors. And would you even consider the person below you as a mentor as well? Because technically you do learn from them, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, everyone's learning from everyone. So the people below us, they're below us in some areas, but they're also above us in other areas. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're helping them in some way, and maybe you're helping them more than they're helping you. But even that action of helping someone more than they help you gives you good karma, I guess. It gives you good feelings. It gives you the self-worth to say, like, yes, I am worthy to get what I want because I'm helping you.
It gives you like good vibrations to go forward.
Yeah.
It puts you on the right frequency.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a big believer in karma?
Yeah, I mean, karma is just a label that we ascribe to a universal truth. Mm-hmm. There's a universal truth in the world that is, you get back what you put out. You reap what you sow.
Yes.
And there's so many different ways to explain it, but karma is a good word for it. You get karmic debt. When you do bad shit that goes against your own conscience, you get karmic debt.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's almost like a spiritual score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you keep track. Your subconscious keeps track
of
how
like,
you
when
treat
you do
yourself.
fucked up shit. You know when you did something bad. You can feel it, and you almost like you want to renege. So that's why, like, I feel like me personally, if I do something that's kind of like, you know, not so above board, it'll always eat at me.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's how big is your conscience, or how powerful is your inner conscience, which is basically just your own self-control.
No, literally, because that voice, the more you listen to it, the louder it gets. The more you ignore it and stuff it down, the more it goes away. And it's just, it's simple. When you start listening to it and start doing what it tells you, then everything starts to spiral upwards. When you start to ignore it and distract yourself from that voice, then you just become a loser and you spiral way down. It's simple. People don't understand that. People don't get that.
Do good things, basically. That's the message.
Yeah,
I mean, do things in good faith.
Do what you know you should do.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what they should do deep down. You know you should probably get up earlier and go to the fucking gym, but you don't. Why don't you do it? You're distracting yourself from what you know you should do.
100%. I think you've talked about if you actually did what you know you should do for the next 6 months, you would transform into a person that you couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
If you stuck to it for 6 months, you'd be unrecognizable.
I've been doing that for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
So I've had 4 of those. 4 6-month periods where I've just absolutely blasted out exactly what I knew I should do. And from the last 2 years, it's changed so much. I've got my dream apartment, my dream girl, my dream job I got, and then I quit and started 2 of my dream businesses. And it's like, I've got my dream body, you know, I'm working out every single day. And this is something I couldn't even imagine 2 years ago. I was just thinking about, well, how am I going to get a car? How am I going to get an apartment? Like, how am I going to get a job? It's like, you got to take one step at a time.
Yeah, one
tiny little step at a time every single day. So you can't think on a big time scale of
it's little things, right?
2 years.
It's like small habits.
It's like, what can I do today? It's like, what's the most important thing I can do with my time right now, today?
Yeah.
And I have reminders on my phone that tell me that 3 times a day. It pops up. It's like, what's the most important thing you could be doing right now?
Just alarms or like apps? Or...
Just on the reminders app on my phone, it pops up. It's like, what's the most important thing you could be doing with your time right now? And you could be doing more. How can you do a better job? And it's like, those just pop up every single day and remind me, get my mind in that state to be like, oh yeah, productivity, efficiency.
So what's your morning routine? And do you think the most important work in terms of healthy habits is done in the morning as well?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. Like, some people get a lot more work done at night and they're more productive at night. Some people in the morning. I'm a big morning person. So I get up early. I get up at 5 a.m. I used to get up at 4, but I get up at 5 because it works better with my relationship.
Okay.
And so I get up at 5 and, you know, I do a meditation. I do a 10-minute meditation with my girlfriend. We both sit there and we do it together.
How do you do that meditation?
I use the Waking Up app.
Right.
Sam Harris has a really good app
I've seen
called Waking Up.
That, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Phenomenal. I've been using it for the last 100 days straight, meditating like 20, 30 minutes a day, and it's fucking changed my life in so many ways, man. So I do that in the morning, and then I'll probably do some push-ups, and then hop straight in the shower, and then yeah, hop out. I'll do like a bit of a cold shower at the end just to kind of wake me up. I think cold showers are something that people talk about so much, but in reality, the whole point of a cold shower is just to get you present.
Yes.
And to teach you discipline.
So even 30 seconds at the end of your shower is enough.
It's enough. It's something, right?
Yeah.
Like you can do ice baths and stuff to train your mental capacity
to deal with pain,
to be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Which is basically just training your consciousness and your awareness, so that you're fully present. Because you can't deal with pain properly if you're not present. Like if you're distracted, you won't deal with pain. So sauna and ice bath basically train your mind to be present like that. Yeah. And so that's it's the like real benefit.
The extremities, right? You're training yourself to deal with like the hardest conditions on either side.
Yep.
So that when you're in the middle, you're more grateful and you're able to focus.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we do that in the morning, the bit of a cold shower, and then we hop into like visualizing, right? And journaling. So we just kind of journal and be like, I'll do this. I'll write about what I regret.
So this is your form of manifestation, or just journaling in general?
Yeah. I mean, it's both, right? So it's a process of removal. So I go into a process of removing all these negative emotions, right? So I'll wake up feeling really angry. I'll wake up feeling like shit, and I'll go in and I'll be like, okay, what do I regret from yesterday? And I'll put that in. I'll note it down. I'll be like, okay, what are my intentions today? What's the one most important thing today? The 3 kind of medium things to do, and 5 like kind of menial tasks. And I'll write those out, and then I'll do like what I'm grateful for. I'll just put a list of, things, people, stuff that I'm grateful for. And then I'll go in and I'll write down my future projection, where I'm like, oh, this is the person that I want to embody. So I'll write it as a present tense. It'll be like, I am so happy and grateful now that I am, say, an online coach, successful online coach, doing this and that, living a life of, I usually write, living a life of happiness, fulfillment, wealth, service, and location independence. And since I started doing that probably about 6 months ago, maybe a year ago now, I've pretty much embodied that, and I've embodied that person. And so I keep changing that up, and I'll basically just go and I'll write probably about a page of stuff like that, and then I'll chuck on my music. I like to listen to some like really motivating kind of movie soundtracks and things like that.
Yeah, like Eye of the Tiger kind of stuff.
Yeah, shit like that, like puts me in a good state. And
I agree.
I just kind of visualize like what I think my life will look like if I keep down this path. Mm-hmm. And then I visualize the day, what I'm going to do that day, my intentions for the day. And I visualize myself going through those actions. So I'm not stuck in the future projecting into there. I'm visualizing exactly what I'm actually going to do this day. And so I do that. And then it's just a process of
doing it,
getting it done.
So what time is that when you end your visualization and you end your routine?
Probably about 6, maybe 6:30, and then have breakfast, go to the gym.
So basically wake up at 5, 6:30 you're done, but gym you come back, I'm guessing around 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Yeah, about 8:30 we get back from the gym, have a shake.
The average person's waking up at 8 or 8:30. So before that 3 hours that you have is literally what puts you ahead of every single person that doesn't do it every day, and that compounded over even 3 months.
And
it's devastating effects.
It's really not like the actions that I'm doing during that time, but it's how I'm preparing my mind during those hours. Because most people wake up at 8 and they'll feel like shit, and they won't do the things they know they should, and they have no clarity on their day.
And it's all that regret, that self-regret.
Yeah.
I know I had a day like that a few days ago where I was supposed to wake up at 7, supposed to go to the gym and then start work at 12. End up waking up at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Rule my whole day.
My whole day. It's crazy. It's crazy hard to get out of that state.
Yeah.
Today, I literally slept in for the first time in fucking ages.
Yep.
I woke up at 5:45 and I was like, fuck.
Like, I'd be so pissed.
My girlfriend got up at 5 and then she let me sleep in. And I was like, oh man, like I was all out of it and shit. But there's a process that you can go through of basically forgiving yourself that allows you to get back into flow state really quickly.
Because you almost waste more time like
ruminating.
Yeah.
You can't ruminate on shit. You have to just realize, okay, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah. How am I going to do better next time?
Just cut out the gym 20 minutes and maybe like cut out a bit of your riding and you're back on track.
Yeah, just do everything else like super fast.
Yeah.
But like there's shit that needs to get done. Like these are all non-negotiable tasks for me. So Saturday is fine, like it's my day off. I take Saturdays off. It's just a chill day. I don't really do much. But I'm kind of punishing myself today by doing a lot of work because I woke up a bit later. I got up a bit later. But you also need to listen to your body and do what your body needs sometimes. Because
that's what my body needed when I slept for that long.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have fucking sleep, you're going to be operating at a lower level. It's going to be so much more of an uphill battle just to get results that you could get if you took a nap real quick.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like you really need to be able to realize the difference between keeping your discipline and your habits, but also tuning into when your body needs what it needs.
So you've got to be in touch with your own self, basically.
Yeah, it's awareness, dude. Like people don't have enough self-awareness. People have no clue like how they're actually feeling, what they're actually thinking about, where they're even going in life. People just don't know. They don't have direction. So I mean, that's what I do with my coaching is I just help people find clarity on those things so that they can just put one foot in front of the other and get it done.
So in terms of sleep, how many hours of sleep do you sleep at night? And do you track your sleep on your Apple Watch? Because I know I got the update now, so I can measure my REM sleep, my deep sleep, my core sleep.
Yeah,
I love it.
I used to do that. I don't wear my watch to sleep anymore. I just put it on charge. But yeah, I mean, I go to sleep at like maybe 8:30, 9, and get up at 5.
So 8 hours.
Yeah, about 8.
And how do you factor in? Because I know what a lot of people are going to think. All right, cool, Spencer. Like whatever, you get up, you do this, but when do you have fun? And when do you go out? And when are those nights when you don't sleep at 9? And you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes I do, but I still get up at 5.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I go out and I like the networking event we threw the other night. That went till like 10 o'clock and we didn't get home and get to bed till like 11. And it was like, fuck, like we knew we had to get up at 5, but you got to do what you got to do. And it was an awesome night and I didn't regret it. So it's like we go out.
If you want to do it, you will.
Yeah. We do stuff that we need to do. Like, you know, if we have a networking event that we want to go and attend, it's like, that's priority 1.
Yeah.
But the process of getting up at that time means more to me than, you know, just the pleasure of sleeping in, right? So if I fall into the pleasure of sleeping in, I'm going to fucking get mad at myself. Like, I'm going to be like, damn, no, that's not acceptable, right? So it's like, I'm still getting up at 5 a.m., even if I feel like shit.
Yeah.
So that's why today was like, nah, 5:45, that's not going to do. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of beat yourself up a bit, but it's what you got to do, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you got to stick to your own process and make sure that you're disciplined enough to be able to carry out that blueprint that you set for yourself. Because if you don't hold your own word to yourself, you have no self-respect.
Yeah.
So the days that I wake up late, I have no self-respect. You were just saying, right, that you woke up, you know, at like 10 and your whole day was fucked, right?
Yeah, it was.
Because you lose self-respect. You're like, oh shit, man, like I thought I was going to get this stuff done today. It's like, no, I can't. It's like, no, fuck that. Can't do that. Yeah. I used to take a day off from the gym each week. I used to take a rest day on Saturdays. And me and my girlfriend realized we feel like shit every Saturday. We feel great every other day. We're going to start going to the gym 7 days a week. So now we just go 7 days a week.
So what's your split like? Is that like a resting day? Because I know a lot of people do like their 7th day as like an ab day or like maybe just like a stretching day. As long as you get in the gym.
Yeah, I mean, we stretch every single day. We do abs every single day. And we just do push-pull legs, push-pull legs, push-pull legs. And if we're feeling like super fucked, then we'll go light.
Yeah.
But we're still getting to the gym.
Absolutely. It just trains your mind.
Yeah.
This is the kind of non-negotiable. A lot of people say, like, I know you saw today, like, you've been in the gym for a year straight, 7 days a week.
Pretty much.
And a lot of people have asked you, right? Like, how do you do that? How do you have the discipline? How do you have the motivation? But like you said, you actually enjoy going to the gym. And you just think of it as a part of your daily life. So everyone sleeps, everyone eats. Why doesn't everyone go to the gym? Yeah. That's simple.
Well, you were saying before, like, when do I find time to have fun? It's like, that is my fun.
That is fun.
The process is fun, right? Like, waking up at 5 a.m. is fun. Like, doing my push-ups, having my fucking shower, like, doing my whole routine, and going to the gym with my girl who's amazing, and, like, just fucking around. Like, that's my fun.
Yeah.
Because we're growing. If I'm not growing, then I'm regressing, and that's not fun. So it's like, anytime I'm growing, yeah, that's fun. That's all it is. So
agree.
if
There's
I go
nothing
out,
better than like a 5:30 a.m. drive to the gym with like the loudest music on.
Yeah.
Sun's coming up.
100%, man.
That's happiness.
It's the best feeling. It's the
Yeah.
best fucking feeling. And everyone knows it. But it's just the feeling of laying in bed and the feeling of comfort is like, fuck. People will do anything to stay in that.
And
People
it's
will
easier.
do anything to stay comfortable. It's crazy.
Yeah. The comfort zone kills.
Yeah. So you got to make discomfort your comfort.
Yep. That's
Discomfort.
why the ice bath, sauna, gym.
Yeah.
It's all discomfort.
Yeah. It's
It
all
always-
just training yourself to like discomfort. You have to like discomfort. Otherwise, you're fucked. You're literally
Yeah.
fucked. You end up a fat ass with tits, laying in bed at like 40 years old, no wife, no kids, feeling like shit. It's like, what kind of life is that, man?
Just posting hate comments on social media as well.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. Like, it baffles me that there's even people who don't go to the gym. It baffles me that there's people who don't find time to go and socialize. It baffles me that people just have shit habits, that people watch TV, that people like watch the news. People like,
That's gonna be the worst thing in the news.
it's
By
crazy.
far. The worst. The worst thing ever. I don't know why you would sit down and watch the news for 30 minutes to an hour when you could literally read like a quick summary of the news on Twitter in 5 minutes, and the quality of news you get is so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even look at the news. I don't know. I have no clue what's happening in the world. Like, I literally have no clue. I don't give a fuck because it doesn't matter. How does it affect me? If it's going to affect me, I'll find out through someone else, right? So I don't even look at the news. I don't look at Twitter, and I don't give a fuck. We have the news on at the gym on the big screens, and it fucking annoys me. But we look at it every now and then and just make fun of it because it's like, it's like the headlines. Like today, it was like, "Oh, there's a new wave in South Australia." I'm like, are people like not over this? Like, do people not realize that it's like a scam? Like,
They're so bored. Like, just don't understand. I can never understand how people get to how they are, but I do feel sorry for them, and I feel like obviously a lot of people like you're going to help them get out of that.
That's the plan, man. It's like those people need to be lifted up to a higher level. So if you look at like the emotional spectrum chart or the map of consciousness, there's all these different charts that show kind of emotional levels, and it'll go like shame, guilt, fear, anger, desire, pride, joy, love, happiness, like things like that. And that emotional spectrum, everyone's on there at some level.
Somewhere.
And so the people who are at like shame and guilt, they get brought up to fear by watching the news. So the news is actually like giving them energy. It's crazy. But to people who are like higher level, it brings them down. So you need to realize, you need to have the self-awareness to realize where you're at.
You need to try
and
to skip that fear bullshit.
Yeah, what's around you is actually like how it's affecting you. Because if you're watching the news from a low level like that, you're going to be like, oh yeah, like those guys need to stop doing that. And you start getting angry, or you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's scary. Oh my God. Like, that's better than apathy. That's better than sitting around being like, oh, life is terrible. It's better than that. But once you get to the point where you're like, you know, you have courage, or you have like, you know, you're in a state of acceptance and love and joy for life, then the fear shit just looks stupid. You're like, what's the point of all this? What are you even talking about? Life's great.
How you talk about the 5 people that you surround yourself with is what you become. If you suppose these people that are like, you know, in their homes watching the news, one of those 5 people is the news person, like low key, and they're just becoming consumed with that, and you know, it's making up a 5th of their lifestyle. Whereas, you know, for you, that 5th person might be like a mentor, or like, you know, like a personal trainer or something like that. So these people just got to surround themselves with something better. Yeah.
But it's like, people don't even want to. That's the issue. Is like,
that's the thing.
People just want to be a bitch.
You can do it.
People just want to be a pussy. Like, people just want to be like, people just want to have self-pity. They want to wallow in their self-pity and be like, oh, woe is me. My life sucks, or everything's against me. Like, people want that because it makes them feel good.
Complain so much. If you just listen to a conversation that you have on the daily, right? How many times it's like, yeah, I'm at uni work. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I've got to go to the gym. Oh, all this bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, no, bitch, you don't gotta go to the gym. You get to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You choose to go to the gym because you're a badass motherfucker. Like, that's all there is to it.
Simple.
It's like, you're choosing not to be a fat ass, unhealthy bitch. Like, that's all there is. It's
Absolutely.
like, the way that people talk to themselves is so bad. Like, that's their whole problem, is people don't talk to themselves right.
Negative lens, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Everything they see is just like, it's not good. There's never anything uplifting about it.
Yeah.
Like, why can't, like, it's all about perspective, right? Like, it's like you say, either I get to go to the gym, I get to walk to the gym, have 2 legs, 2 arms, and lift shit, or it's, oh, I have to go to the gym. It's just how you look at it.
Yeah.
Same shit.
100%. Like, I could be walking to the gym with no car, no apartment, which I was 2 years ago. I was just walking to the gym and I was broke as fuck, but I was like, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm going to the gym. All these motherfuckers who have their nice ass houses, but they're fat, I'm better than them. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to the gym, god damn it. And like, it makes me feel good, right? Because I'm like, just framing everything as positive, no matter what happens. I'm just like, yep, this is an opportunity to grow. Yep, this is great. Even when I was homeless, I was like, yep, this is teaching me a lesson. This is going to be great. I'm going to glow up fucking massive and I'm going to show people it's possible. Like, that's my 100%. Self-talk, right?
When you were homeless, would you ever have wanted to trade positions with anyone else on earth?
I mean, hell yeah. When I was in the moment, I was like, I'd have my days where I was just feeling so shit. And I was like, was depressed as fuck and wanted to kill myself, bro. Like, I've been to that level as well. And it's just about the process of how you get yourself out of that state.
Like, how about now? Would you trade your life for anyone's?
No. There's no point. Because, like...
I agree. I think it's extremely ungrateful to not think that you have the best life out of every human that exists.
Yeah. You should think that
it's
your life is the best. Because it's a one-player
game at the end of the day, right? Single-player game.
You have to be the main character.
Yeah.
In your own movie.
Life.
Like, you have to. There's no other way.
Doesn't make any sense, yeah.
Because you are the main character. Like, objectively speaking, everybody is their own main character. So, like, just embody it and think that you're the shit.
And it's not like a competition either. You know? It's not like you need to, like, be like, oh, there's 100 other people that are at the gym, like, you know, we're all competing to be, like, the number one person. It's not like that. I used to think a lot like that. I think you said something similar. I used to be like, oh, like, you have to be the best, so... Like, you want everyone else to, like, not succeed, and you want them to fail. But essentially, there's only really, like, 2% of the population of the world that wants to be the best. And so if you're in that 2%, you're doing fine.
I think everyone wants to be the best deep down. They just don't think they're worthy of it.
Yeah. So maybe we could say 2% think they deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like, today, I was talking to my girlfriend Janelle at the gym, and I was like, I'm feeling, like, kind of self-conscious. I was like... You know, because my gym is like a bodybuilder gym, so everyone in there is fucking massive and ripped, and they all compete in the competitions and everything. So it's like we're like the smallest ones in the gym.
Okay, fair.
And so it's like I was like, damn, like I'm feeling small because I've been on a cut, so I've been losing a lot of fat, and I'm like I'm feeling fucking small and like kind of feeling shit, and like she builds me back up, and she reminds me of the stuff that I tell her, which is get your mind right. Like, get your mind back into where it needs to be and fix your self-talk. And then get back into it. And what do you know? Like, less than an hour later, we're back into it, back where we should be. Right? So it's not like, there's no bad days anymore. There's never a bad day. It's just a bad hour. Yeah. When you have an accountability partner to hold you to that standard, to that level, it's like, there's no bad days.
Yeah, I saw something that compared your time to your bank account. So if you had... Like, I'm not sure how many seconds are in a day, but it was like 24,000 something like that. And it was like, if you had that much money in your bank account and someone took 10, like, would you be pissed? Like, would you be pissed if someone stole $10 from you out of your, like, you know, $200,000? No, you wouldn't. So why, if someone robbed you of 10 seconds of your time that made you feel like shit during the day, why were you pissed for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I mean, you have, like, limited time, right?
Yeah.
But it's all a matter
10
of
seconds ruin the rest of the money or the rest of the time.
Yeah, but it's like the premise of it, right? It's like, why is the person like distracting you? Like, why is the person coming up to you? Like, you know, if they're just trying to like fuck with you or something, it's like you know, what's the point? What's the point of this? Like, you don't need to take shit, right? Like, you don't need to take shit from people. But you just need to enjoy everything that happens to you, everything that's going on in your life. You need to actually be able to have the right attitude towards it, right? Because it's like, that's the whole purpose for life, is just experiencing. The process of experiencing. That's all it is.
So you think that's the meaning of life?
Yeah, experiencing. That's all it is. And then you create your own purpose and meaning on top of that. So you ascribe your own meanings to things. That's my worldview, right? Is like, you just experiencing, and you get to ascribe your own meanings to whatever happens. So you can ascribe a negative meaning to everything that happens in your life and say, oh, woe is me. Oh, my life sucks. It's terrible. Or you could say, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm the loser at the start of the movie, and I'm going to be the badass by the end of the movie. And this is my movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you can choose to frame everything however you want.
You're in creative mode. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. Life is literally creative mode.
Yeah.
Once you unlock your mind and you unlock that ability to be able to reframe everything properly,
you'll be excited to wake up and get shit done.
Yeah, you could do anything.
You would never want to sleep in again.
Yeah.
Literally.
Except today.
Yeah. We don't talk about today.
It gets to the point though where you're just doing everything you know you should every single day, to the point that the only bottleneck, the only thing that breaks, is your actual physical body starts to break down. And then it's like, oh, like, I'm getting sick, or I like physically can't get out of bed. Like, there's all these things that start to kind of manifest themselves physically as symptoms when you just are on the path to do exactly what you know you should all the time. Yeah. But even that is just an indicator that what you should be doing is taking a bit of a rest.
What about like when you go on holiday and you do traveling? Like, you still stick with your routine, drop it for a bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's harder to stick to the routine when we're traveling.
Yeah. We
went to Bali not too long ago. We'd still get to the gym pretty much every day. This was before we started doing the 7 days a week thing. But yeah, no, it's like, that process needs to be sacred. Like, it needs to be completely sacred. So anytime we go anywhere, like I went to Melbourne not long ago, like, and I'd bring my journals with me, and I'd do my push-ups, and I'd, do my journals and stuff, just because, like, you need to stick to that habit. Otherwise you fall out of it. So it's easier to do something every single day than it is to do it 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 3 days a week. It's easier to do it every single day because each day is just automatic.
It's a must.
You go into like autopilot, basically.
Yeah.
Where like, if you enter that mindless mode of like no awareness, you basically just do the habits that put you back into a high awareness, high frequency state automatically, right? So when you have those habits built up, habit takes 21 days to actually form.
Yeah, to form.
Once you've built those habits after 21 days, they automatically put you back into a high frequency state every single day. So that's just like unlimited power at that point.
Yeah, you love it, hey?
Yeah, I love this shit, man. It's so cool. Me and my girlfriend both, we love like optimizing for efficiency.
I love it as well. That's the other thing I don't get, right? So you go for a blood test at the doctors, and they tell you, yeah, you're within range, you're within ordinary range, you're within ordinary range. What the fuck? Tell me how to be superhuman.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me how to optimize. I think the whole practice is called ophthalmology. And that's what, Andrew Huberman, he focuses on that. He's a neuroscientist. I don't know if you've ever watched him. Love him. Like, as far as doctors go, probably the only one that I would listen to that's out there. Like, why don't you want to optimize your life? Why don't you want to say, like, all right, if you raise your zinc and you raise your iron and you raise your magnesium and you probably go to the sun 2 more hours a day and you sleep for another hour, then you'll be feeling way better. You'll be able to accomplish goals way faster. Yeah. Why is it not like that?
I just don't understand it, man.
And the other thing is, the doctors that give you advice and tell you this are like, they're not in shape.
No, they're fat. They're fat as fuck. They got tits, and they're telling you like what you should be doing with your health. Yeah. It's like, well, if I do what you tell me to do, am I going to look like you? I'll pass. Yeah. Like, the doctors said I had depression. They were like when I moved back here, I was depressed as fuck. I wanted to die. And I was just like, how do I get out of this? Like, I don't understand. I felt so stuck. And I went to the doctor and they prescribed me some antidepressants. And I was like, fuck this shit, man. I'm going to make a prescription for myself. And so I basically built out a whole plan. And I used Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yep. You know that pyramid? Mm-hmm. I used that as motivation to create a whole checklist. And this checklist I call the Human Needs Optimizer. Right. And it basically is a bunch of questions that gets you to figure out exactly what needs you're lacking.
So you made this yourself?
Yeah.
Do you have this online available for people?
Yeah, it's part of my coaching program,
Right.
and it's a bonus that I include in some of my courses and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it helps people so much because it allows you to see where you're at when you first start doing it as a holistic view of your life in every category. So to have like social, fundamental needs, safety needs, freedom needs, self-esteem, stuff like that. And then it allows you to track it over time. Yeah. So me and my girlfriend did one today. We do it every single week. And it just shows us what we're lacking and what we need to work on for that week. And it's a continual process, but it's really good for being self-aware. Like it just allows you to go, oh yeah, I need to call my parents today. Like I need to stop having such high standards. Like I need to drink more water. Like all these different things, they're all part of it. And it's just, yeah, it's the perfect list for your life, basically. It allows you to have all your shit dialed in. I say you got to have your shit dialed in to go from having what you need to having what you want.
I love that.
Because you got to get what you need first out the way just so you can operate as a normal functioning human being. Mm-hmm. Once you get all of that at 100%, 10 out of 10, then you focus on your higher purpose. You focus on what you actually want to do. And you have the ability to do it and the mental space and presence and capabilities to be able to do it.
No, absolutely. Let's rewind it a bit. Let's talk about your days before you became Spencer Hosking as you are now. Probably your Vegas party days. You've been married 3 times, technically. And also, I want to know how you had a girlfriend when you were homeless. Like, how does that match up?
Yeah. So I've just... I've always been super interested in relationships with friends, networks, dating, and because I always struggled with it when I was younger. And I was super shy, introverted, like nerdy kind of gamer dude. And I was just super infatuated with the idea of having really good, meaningful relationships with the best people around. And I wanted to optimize for that. And so growing up in Vegas, that was a big part of my life, was just networking. And so I would throw these big parties and I'd just invite everyone over.
So when did this start? When you were like 16-ish or?
Yeah, when I was like 16, I was 15 actually. And my friends, I was at like a football game, like a high school football game. And they're like, oh, go talk to that girl. And I was like, I went up to her and I was like, I just froze up. And it was like so awkward. And I didn't know what to say. And I went home that night and I was like, that was weird. Like that probably shouldn't happen. Like I should probably just know what to say and like be able to communicate effectively. And so I went on this big like journey of just figuring out social skills because I was basically deficient. Yeah. And so I really studied it super hard, like how to have confidence, how to have charisma, how to be witty and charismatic on the fly. And that led me down a super long journey of throwing these big parties, going out and like cold approaching people on the streets all the time.
To get them to come to your parties?
Yeah, I mean just to chat with people and like hone in my social skills basically. And it'd be awesome because living in Vegas, there's thousands of people who come through every single day. And so you can just go down to the strip in the middle of the city and talk to thousands of people in a night and go on like a bunch of different adventures and stuff. And so me and my friends would just go down to the strip. Sometimes I'd go alone by myself and I'd just go and talk to random people and I'd just go hang out with them. They'd invite me back to their places for parties, their hotel rooms, penthouses. There'd be like millionaires and celebrities and these supermodels and like, you know, all of like the top level people were all out there. And so I just cultivated this skill of being able to go and talk to anyone and just have it be a really awesome interaction. And they love me, right? Like have these people love me.
And remember you.
Yeah. And so that basically came from a place of insecurity and neediness of not having that love growing up for myself.
Right.
And I realized that over time. But now I've healed that part of myself and still retained the ability to be able to socialize with everyone and network with everyone at a really high level. And so, yeah, that was the journey basically.
Yeah. So the parties were crazy. Who's
the
most famous person you met there?
Rick Ross was gonna come to one of them. I I think I can't remember what happened with him. He was gonna rock up. He was like on his way, and then he cancelled to go somewhere else. And that was like, I was like, fuck, I was kicking myself. But we've had a lot of kind of C-list celebrity type people out there, and just these like influencers and stuff on Instagram,
Yeah.
that have a lot of followers. But it was really like just parties I'd throw at my house, parties I'd throw at hotel rooms, and then yeah, I'd just invite like primarily girls. So it'd be like 80% girls and like maybe 20% guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then we built up this reputation in Vegas for throwing parties with a lot of hot girls.
Yeah.
And so all the
Dan
dudes,
Bilzerian lifestyle.
yeah, all the dudes were like in our DMs and
Trying to
stuff.
get in,
All the
yeah.
girls were in our DMs, like trying to get into the parties and trying to get like attention on social media because that was blowing up. And so it was just really easy to leverage that to be able to get the connections I wanted and throw the parties I wanted and meet cool people and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a fun time, man. It was awesome.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was cool.
And led you to a path of eventually getting married, or fake married in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it started to go down a bad path when the people I started partying with just started to get lower and lower frequency, right? And they started just like doing drugs and drinking lots, and it was like, ooh, going down a bad path here, and it started to spiral down. And then it got to the point where I kind of stopped focusing on the things I needed to, and I was just so tunnel visioned on relationships that it made everything else fall apart.
Right.
And so that was the point where COVID kind of hit, and I was talking to this girl online at the time, and she ended up flying out and just moving in with me and my parents in our house that we were staying at. And because I was like, yeah, just come over here. And I basically, as soon as she moved in, my parents told me we're getting evicted.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And then, we basically became homeless right after that. And so she was stuck with me and my family through all of that. She didn't want to go back to her hometown on the other side of the country. She wanted to stay in Vegas. And it was tough having a relationship at the same time as going through all of that. It was really stressful on the relationship and on everything as a whole. But it's those relationships with those people, my family, my girlfriend at the time, my friends. That's what kept me sane. What kept me afloat.
People
was those people.
Yeah.
So I think people are super important part of everything, man.
Fair
enough. The homeless stuff was crazy. It was basically we became homeless at the start of COVID, and they kept saying 2 more weeks. It's just 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks of lockdown, and then we'll be fine. We're back out of it. And they kept saying that over and over again for like 8 months. And by the end of it, we're like, what the fuck? What is going on? And plane flights back to Australia were like $10K. And
crazy.
Eventually saved up enough to get one.
So you actually did pay $10K to come back to Australia?
It was like 6 or 7K. It was like
USD?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were just working towards that goal?
Yeah, that was just my tunnel vision goal. Ended up...
So you packed up, left the girl...
Yeah, well, actually... Oh, yeah, that was what we were doing. So I wanted to get a green card so I could stay in America. That was my first goal.
Right.
And so I wanted to get married to get that, right? And so we ended up doing that, and she didn't want to get married, right? And I was like, we'll just get the green card, it'll be chill. And I could tell that she kind of didn't want to, but she was reluctant, but she went through with it, right? And I thought it was all going to work out, but it just got super toxic. The relationship got super bad. And I just wasn't ready for that type of relationship, right? And so we ended up breaking up, but we were still living together in the same house, and that was terrible. And so just out of the blue, I was like, okay, I've got this money saved up. I'm going to buy a flight back to Australia, leave, sell all my shit, just 2 suitcases, $0 in my bank account after I bought the flight. And I was like, I'm out. 3 days later, I was out. I booked the flight. 3 days later, I was gone. Upped and left my whole life. Came to Australia. to build a new one.
Where did you live in Australia then when you came straight away?
Perth. So I lived with my auntie
Right.
at her place. Staying on a little bed, little like shitty spring bed in her place, and just building up from there. And it was a cool journey, man. Like, even though I felt like shit and I hated my life, it was like I was on the journey.
Yeah.
And like I was enjoying it.
So this journey, right? Obviously, you went through some incredibly tough times, and they kind of spring you into a different life from what you've said. Do you think that incredibly tough times are important to do something that is so successful and so like, I don't know if you get what I mean, but like,
yeah, people always say
the only way to ever become like super famous or super successful is to have some crazy hardship, like potentially losing a family member or being homeless like yourself or something like that.
There's a common denominator between people who get really big in any way.
Yep.
And it's that. It's some kind of traumatic experience, some
like,
kind of downfall.
Like
right?
Robert Downey Jr., he was like homeless, he was in prison, all that kind of stuff. And then he just became like, one of the most successful actors of all time. Yeah,
it's a law of nature, a law of the universe, a universal truth that what goes up must come down, what's down must come up, and it's like the yin and the yang, right?
Yeah.
It goes around. So the people who are at the bottom, they automatically will bounce up to the top when they realize that that's how the world actually works. And so the whole universe is basically just a lesson in teaching these universal laws of karma, right? It's like, that's the whole lesson. That's the whole lesson of life, is to realize that. And so you can either sit around in your sorrows being like, oh, life's so terrible, or you can say, yeah, I'm at the bottom now. I'm going to spring back up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like it's a necessity, because anyone can choose their rock bottom. Yeah. That's the thing, though, is like, it's all subjective. So my girlfriend was saying to me, she was like, oh, like I don't think I've been through like a struggle like that. And people have said that to me as well in the past, that they're like, oh, I haven't been through like that hardship. And it's like, motherfucker, you're just ungrateful. You're just ungrateful because you have it at such a high level, but you're comparing yourself to people at the bottom and thinking they have more than you. It's like the people at the bottom are comparing themselves to you
and they're trying to become like you.
Yeah, they're saying that you have it and they don't, which is why they can't get it. It's like you're doing the same thing that they're doing, right? So everyone does that. So the whole way to get out of it is just to realize that all of that is just bullshit. Like, comparing yourself to other people in general is all just bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but you got to compare yourself to yourself yesterday, and that's all you can do.
Yeah. Become a better version of yourself every day.
Yeah.
So that being said, do you think the middle class have it harder, or is it just a mindset belief that needs to be changed so that they can bounce?
It's all mindset. 100%. Middle class people have it fucking good. They have the life of royalty a couple hundred years ago. Yep. Like, it was only kings who got to live how middle class people live today.
Yeah.
And middle class people take it for granted because they're comparing themselves to people who are way higher than them.
Yeah.
And it's fine to compare yourself to people who are way higher than you if your intention is to instill more self-belief that you can do it. But it's not okay to use it as a scapegoat for not taking the action that you need
successful.
to take. Yeah.
I love that. That's going to be big, because a lot of people think they're like, oh, like they're too mediocre to like do something, and they haven't been through enough struggle.
It's like,
it's such a big thing.
Dude, you are...
It's like they almost become, like they want to start struggling. Like you see like all these like middle like class people like almost going to poverty.
Yeah.
Purposely almost.
They self-sabotage.
Yeah,
because they have this false belief in their mind that they have to go down super low and fuck up their lives to be able to go up super high.
They
have that belief. And that's the issue, that they have that belief. Because if they just change that belief and say, oh, this is my rock bottom now, I'm making this my rock bottom because I see that compared to all the other people who are way up there, I'm way the fuck down here. I'm at the fucking bottom. It's like, then you're like, oh, yeah, hang on. But if everyone that you're comparing yourself to is at the same level as you, then you're like, oh, well, shit, I mean, maybe I just need to go through some struggle. It's like, No, you just need to instill your own struggle by setting up disciplines and routines
And
that make
getting-
you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
That's all.
discomfort,
Yeah.
like we said before.
Because that's what a traumatic experience is, right? It's just discomfort.
Yeah, I suppose, prolonged time of discomfort.
Yeah.
Is
Trauma is this is what I say in my program is trauma is just a result of not having your needs met for an extended period of time or in a drastic way.
Yep.
So when your needs aren't met, it becomes a trauma that kind of needs to get solved, that you kind of hold on to and you're like, oh, and it becomes a self-belief. And that belief fucks you up. So when people don't have their needs met, say they weren't loved as a kid, they weren't given the attention that they needed as a kid, then that becomes something that runs them later in life, right? Where they go out and they have unfulfilling relationships. And that's what happened with me, right?
Yeah.
And so that happens every area of life, right? Where you go through these experiences and they get stuck with you in the form of a belief. And people need to become aware of that belief to actually be able to transcend it and move up.
Yeah.
And no one does this work. No one does that inner work, that inner mindset work to be able to become free. Because that's how you become free from the matrix, is by doing that.
So how do you suggest to someone, let's just say, been through school, finished all that, super middle class, at university now, how do they free themselves from the matrix? Because as much as like it's good to earn money online like you do, not everyone can do that. Like not everyone can have a mindset coaching platform or like an e-commerce store, or digital marketing like website or whatever it happens to be.
Yep.
You know, like obviously there's needs of in other parts of society. How do they like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the matrix?
Well, here's the thing. Everyone can have the right mindset,
Yeah.
right? Everyone can have the right attitude.
Mhm.
And that's really all it is switching your attitude and becoming more conscious. Becoming more conscious and aware of yourself and your own thoughts and where you're at. Because there's people who do jobs that you'd think are shit, right? But they fucking love it.
And they're happy.
Yeah, they're super
And
happy.
that's all it
they
is,
love
right?
it. They're
It's
fulfilled.
all just life is a road to happiness. And if you have it now, like why are you complaining?
Yeah, I mean it's like life is suffering, right? Is what the Buddha says. It's like life is suffering, and that's what it is. It's just about how do you deal with the suffering? How do you actually deal with it in a positive way? Because people will just go into it and be like, oh no, it's terrible, but you got to reframe it. And so when you reframe it, that becomes a habit. When you start to reframe things that you see as a negative, when you start to reframe them as positive, that becomes a habit, and then it becomes automatically you. And it becomes actually you, because you're creating those neural pathways in your brain from scratch and then strengthening them over time through repetition, and that becomes you.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're a negative person right now, you just need to create the neural pathways to become a positive person. That's all
Simple
it is.
as that.
It's through attitude.
So you change your mindset. It's like same story, same person, right? Uni now, but now they have the perfect mindset. Going to the gym every day, waking up early. They're still on that same pathway, like you say, stuck in the matrix.
Yeah.
Because they're in the system and they're going to have, a job at the end of the day.
So the financial system is a bit different, right? The job system is a bit different. The mindset is the first key.
Yeah.
But once you get that down, it's just about figuring out what the fuck you actually want to do in your life and then figuring out the plan to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of younger dudes will get stuck on the what they actually want to do part. And they'll be like, oh, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, motherfucker, just choose something. Like, make a choice and commit.
Yeah.
Make a commitment to something. Because that's all it is. You commit to one thing, you see it through for as long as you need to, and then when you need to pivot, you will know. You will know when you need to pivot, because you'll start to burn out so bad and you'll start to get overwhelmed and stressed to the point where you're like, no, this is not good, because you'll have another opportunity that you see as like, oh yes, this is the thing. This is the thing that I really want to do. And that will pop up. And it's just a process of going through those things that keep popping up until you get to the point where you're doing exactly what you want to do. You're really good at it, and you're making a bunch of money doing it, and it fulfills you in every single way, right? But usually that thing is something that you knew deep down the whole time that you wanted to do. You just didn't think you were worthy of doing it, right? everyone has this path inside them that they need to follow. They just don't listen to it because they're like, no, I'm not worthy of that. I can't do that. Their self-belief and their self-doubt is holding them back.
All right. I love it. I really like that message. Financially, and we'll say going forward, this is not financial advice. Obviously, you don't want to get sued or whatever. Otherwise, you have to leave this country as well. But in terms of like getting yourself financially stable, because you literally came from having $0 to being financially stable in 2 years at 23 in probably one of the top 5 most expensive countries in the world, cost of living wise.
Yeah, true. When you frame it like that, it's a pretty big accomplishment, because it's like it doesn't take much just to get your basic needs met. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
You just need.
Because you said you had your dream job at some point.
Yeah, I was working in a Web3 company. It was awesome. It's like a software company. We're making a video game, and I was just like basically a YouTuber, just playing video games all day, and like uploading them for the company. And I was like the face of the brand and stuff, and it was really fun. But I ended up quitting it because the crypto industry was going downhill, and I could see that it was about to tank. And so I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. And it wasn't really as fulfilling as actually helping people, right? But to answer your question about financial stability, it's like you just got to focus on one thing. Focus on one thing at a time that you need to get done. Don't start thinking, oh, I need to be financially stable. Like, you're not even going to the fucking gym. You're not even like working out. You're not even eating right. You're not even getting enough sun. You're not even like drinking enough water. You're not even waking up at a consistent time every morning. How do you expect to become financially stable if you can't even stabilize your own life? Like your own personal life, your own health. Like that comes first, because once you get your health right, then everything else starts to come. Everything else flows easily when you have all your needs met. So when you go through the process of getting your fundamental needs met, you're drinking enough water, eating the right food, the right quantities of food, getting enough sunlight, getting enough sleep, consistent schedule. You dial all of that stuff in, and then you get to the point where you're able to perform at a much higher level. And then you can go straight into a job that is exactly what you need, right? And so the issue with younger guys who worry about financial stability is like, they don't want to work.
Yeah.
They want to be financially stable.
Get rich quick kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like, I thought the same way, where I was like, oh, once I get some money, then I won't have to do anything. Then I won't have to work anymore. I can just like chill. And it's like, no. You can't just chill. Because when you just chill, you get depressed, you get anxious, and you feel like shit. Like, it's not good. You get complacent.
You're not growing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not growing, then you're regressing. So you can't just chill. You can't chill. You have to keep fucking going and be all offense. You have to be all offense. So it's like, this is the one thing I learned from working in Web3, crypto industry, is that you have to provide value to get value. You can't just get something for nothing. You can't get money for nothing.
Too many people want that.
Yeah.
Right? They want to do the easiest thing possible to get money.
It's crazy, man. Like, how can you provide value to other people?
There's no way to escape hard work.
I mean, there is. There is a way to escape hard work, and it's by doing what you love, right? Yeah. It's by enjoying what you do. Then it's not hard work anymore. It's just normal. It's just natural. It flows, and you enjoy it, right? It's like, I'm enjoying this, but this is my work. Yeah. It's like, but I really love doing this stuff. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like work. So people are doing shit that they don't actually want to do. And that's the problem. It's like, why are you forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do? You want to go and chill? No, you fucking don't. You think you want to go and chill, but you don't. You're just burnt out. You're burnt out because you haven't made a decision on what the fuck you actually want to do with your life. Yeah. That's all burnout is. Burnout is just an excuse for not making a decision and being out of integrity with who you really are.
So do you almost suggest like a period of time where you throw yourself in the deep end, and what you do is Like, let's say you do come from a middle class family, so you have the ability not to work, but you just kind of give up your saving money ability for a few months. Do you suggest to someone like, get your shit right, get your shit together, get your health right, 6 months, don't do anything, don't work, don't go to uni, but just figure it out and throw yourself in the deep end, kind of like what you were forced to do, and see how you claw yourself out?
It's like, if you have the luxury of still living with your parents, it's like, bro, you have such a big upper hand, but at the same time, you have a disadvantage because you don't have a fire under your ass. So what you got to do is you got to light a fire under your own ass.
Yeah.
You have to do that. Otherwise, you won't move. You'll just stay complacent. And that's what so many dudes do.
And that's what a mindset coach kind of gets you, I suppose.
Yep.
You're the fire.
Yeah, 100%. But people who are complacent think they don't need a mindset coach, or they think they don't need a coach, or they don't need anything. They're just like,
So do you think everyone needs a mindset coach?
Good question. No. Not everyone needs a mindset coach.
Because, like, you don't need a mindset coach.
I do. I have
it's yourself,
multiple mindset coaches.
Okay.
But that's the thing is, like, when you want to operate at a high level, you need a mindset coach. Okay. When you're struggling, you need a mindset coach. When you have everything together and you love your life and everything's going great and you couldn't be happier, you don't need a mindset coach. That's all.
Right.
So there are people who are like that, but they're rare.
So who's the mindset coach of the mindset coach?
The mindset coach is the mindset coach. I've got a few.
And are they actually like actual mindset coaches, or are they mentors that you learn from, or a bit of both?
Yeah, I mean, they're business coaches, they're fitness coaches, mindset coaches. I have coaches for so many different things.
Yep.
And you need to have that. You can't just have one coach who teaches you everything, because then you're limiting yourself to their paradigm, right?
And so are these like paid coaches, or like people that you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've paid thousands of dollars for coaching programs, and they've changed my life dramatically.
Because a lot of people out there like kind of see like the coaches online, coaches on Instagram, and it's so like, I wouldn't say overdone, but it's so in your face that it's kind of hard not to think of it as like gimmicky, or like, you know, like just like a Ponzi scheme, or like, you know, they're just taking your money. So what do you say to those kind of people that think coaching isn't worth it? Because like you just said, you spent $1,000 on coaching, and obviously it's done you well.
Yeah.
It's basically, why should someone pay you to be their coach?
You're paying someone to basically get their energy. You're taking someone's energy, right? Yeah. So you can get this just through networking organically and not pay for anything.
But it's a lot harder, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot harder.
It's a lot harder to get that.
It's a lot harder just to get in those rooms as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just find yourself magically in the perfect place.
You got to have the skills to be able to do that. You got to learn that, right? Which is what I teach. But it's also, you're paying for accountability, for someone to actually be there and say, hey, motherfucker, you need to do this every single day. You're paying for a blueprint, someone who knows what you've been through, has gone through it themselves, and
I love that about your point as well. Like, you've gone from, like, you know, zero to hero. Like, so you actually can relate to everyone. I feel like a lot of other mind coaches aren't like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like therapists, right? They can't relate to you at that level.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches can't relate to you at that level. The best coach for you is someone who has been through what you've been through, and you can relate to at a really high level.
And so once your client ascends, do you almost tell them like, all right, look, you don't need me anymore?
Yeah, I mean,
is that the goal of your program?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Kind of take people off that.
The goal,
makes sense? Like graduate, almost.
Here's the thing: most coaches will upsell you into another program, because they'll realize that they can help you with something else. Because if they've gotten you to the point that you want to be at, then they're probably already higher than you at the next point. And so most of the time, like my clients, one guy the other day, he was like, you know, he found his ideal girl, his dream girl. He's got this relationship now. He's been dating a bunch of girls, and he was like, I want to do what you do now. Like, I want to start a coaching business. And I was like, yeah, man, like, I'll show you how to do it. And so I basically got him into the next program, which is just helping him kind of position himself online and get in front of the camera and start making content and stuff. So it's like, you're just helping people to do things. You're just showing people the way of like how to get stuff done quicker. So you're time collapsing your results down into a package and selling it to someone.
So essentially, anyone could do what you did with enough time, but time is money. So they'd rather just spend the money and get the whole collated package from you,
Yeah.
which is tried and tested,
Yeah.
rather than YouTubing, Wim Hof and then YouTubing.
Yeah, trying all that shit, having the cold showers and being like, oh, why isn't this working? And going to the gym and it's like, no, all of that is just the means to an end, and I have the end, and I can just give you the end without you having to go through that big 10-year process that I went through of all that. So it's like, why not just take that?
It's
and
the
people that I pay thousands of dollars to is like, they're at the level that I want to be at, but they're time collapsing their results from where I'm at to where they're at into a package, and I'm paying for it.
So you take their energy, you harvest the energy, and then you let someone else take your own energy.
Yeah, it's the blueprint and the energy. That's all it is. Because you surround yourself with the people you want to be like, and you'll become them. Mm-hmm. And if they give you a plan to follow, then it's like a done deal. You just follow the plan, and you're good.
I love it. Talk about these networking events that you go to. Where do you find the people for that? Is that a networking event that you host yourself? Like, are you the person that organized it?
Yeah.
And so do you compare it to kind of like a war room as such?
Yeah.
Or is that kind of your goal with it?
The war room. I like that name. We're calling it the Renaissance now.
Okay.
It's like it's a revolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's an enlightenment period of business. It's an enlightenment period of personal growth.
Yep.
Where we all just want to be ripped, and we want to be rich,
like-minded people,
and we want to be we want to be high level. So it's like all those people coming together just to chill, to chat, talk business, talk shit, and have a meal, have some drinks, whatever. It's like, So me and James Conti, we host that, and we've got another one coming up soon. And yeah, it was awesome, man. It's just like we had like 30 or 40 people at the first event.
Yeah, I saw that.
And yeah, it was great just chatting to everyone and get to meet new people, because Perth needs something like that. Like Perth doesn't have a lot of networking events like that.
So it's
that
not
are really
like a
quality.
secret society of such. It's open to people, or
yeah, it's open to people who want to come. We've got big plans for it, of kind of scaling it in the future to different kind of things. We want to do trips and masterminds and retreats and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So we've got all that planned, and it's going to be awesome. But
I like it.
Yeah, for right now, we're just doing dinners and maybe some poker nights and things like that.
Is there like an Instagram page for this, or like a Facebook page?
There's a Facebook group for it. Yeah, it's called The Renaissance, and it's a public group. You go and join that, and come by the next event.
Yeah, so right now it's open, but I'm sure at one point it'll become a bit more exclusive.
Yeah, so we've got the Renaissance, and then we've got the Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle is more exclusive for high level people who want to be around the best and go on the bigger trips and the private jets and the yacht rides and the things like that. So
yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Definitely one of your projects at the moment. What other projects do you have that you can tell us about? Like, what's in the future for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I got the coaching thing is the main priority right now. Just getting that business sorted and scaled to the point where I'm able to help as many people as I can and fill up my calendar completely. So right now, I'm having a call or two every single day, but I want to bump that up and get as many people as possible into the program so I can help them.
Do you use cold calling as a technique?
No. No, my lead gen process for coaching is all organic social media right now. Organic is my skill basically, because I used to do YouTube, I used to do Twitch, and
when I followed you straight away sent me like a DM. Thanks for the follow. How long have you been doing the podcast for?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what gets the ball rolling, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone who follows me gets the DM.
Yeah.
Like if I look at their profile and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a cool guy, like cool chick or whatever, I'll send them a DM, start chatting with them and see where they're at, how I can help them. Because that's everything, man. Like people who follow you on social media, if you haven't had a chat to every single one of them, like you're doing yourself a big disservice. That's true. I'm just going through the process of messaging everyone who follows me right now and actually having a chat with them and seeing how I can help them, so that you get back what you put out. So it's like it's not even about getting something back though. It's really just about
building healthy relationships. Yeah,
like helping people get to where they want to go, because that's the most fulfilling thing you could possibly do, is help someone else get to where they want to be in life. And it just so happens that that's how you make a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
So
win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I've got a lot out of this. I'm not sure what other topics you want to kind of like hit. Anything else that you really think is important?
Yeah, man. You got some notes here, like fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
that's a big one. Yeah,
It's so true because you have to
just think you like. I always say it, like if people that know me as well, like I just like sometimes I just walk around and be like, I'm the goat. I'm the goat.
It's like,
If you just believe it, you'll become it.
yeah, exactly. But you also can't be delusional.
That's
as
the
well.
other thing. Well,
That's
I
the
actually
hard
saw
part.
a few TikToks about how if you just be delusional, you can actually go through life pretty well. But like not like a crazy delusion, but delusion to a like you almost have a delusion
Yeah.
in yourself. Like when you were homeless, thinking about what you were going to be,
Yeah.
that's a delusion in itself.
Yeah.
Because most people on the street will tell you you're crazy as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a plan. It's like if you have a vision, then that's one thing. But if you have a plan, that's a whole nother thing,
Yeah.
right?
And
Like
taking action is the next step.
yeah. So if you reverse engineer your vision down to the step that you can take today,
In this
and
hour.
then tomorrow, and then the next day, and every single day, you just take those steps, then it's like, of course you're going to get there. So
Yeah.
then you can just assume that you're already there because you're on the path to get there. As long as you don't miss and you don't fuck up, then you're good. You're going to get there. So it's like, as long as the path to get there makes sense and it's from someone who's actually there, then you fucking made it.
Mhm.
Like, you're going to get there. So
Do you feel sorry for people that have it on the plate, like billionaires, kids, and all that kind of stuff? They never get to experience this journey.
yeah, I've known a lot of like, you know,
Rich
really
kids
wealthy,
in
really
Vegas,
wealthy,
yeah.
like, you know, like my friends, they'd show me, they'd be like, yo, like, I'd look at their bank account, they got like millions of dollars in their bank account, and they're like younger than me, and they're like 18, 17 years old, and I was like wow,
trust fund kids kind of thing.
Hey?
Like trust fund kids kind of thing, or
yeah, just like, you know, the kids of like really rich business owners out there, you know, there's a lot of them,
yeah,
and it kind of fucks them up because they don't have that discomfort, right? They don't have that
fire.
Yeah, they don't have a fire under their ass, and so they have to create it some way, and they end up doing it by fucking up their lives
Yeah,
as
by
much
going
as
backwards.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so they go and they drink and they do drugs and they feel like shit.
They like clean-
They just fuck everything up, and then they build it back up from there. And it's like, that's your journey. Sure, you can do it, but you can also just choose your rock bottom wherever you
Yeah.
want, because it's completely subjective. So
that's true.
your rock bottom could be when I have $1 million in my bank account, right? Or your rock bottom could be when I have a noose tied around my neck and I'm about to step off the stool, right? It's like your rock bottom can be completely like anywhere in between there.
spectrum, right?
Yeah,
Still
it's
rock bottom.
totally subjective. So just choose where you want it to be and say, okay, this is the time now. I'm going up.
Prince Harry almost did your little spiral down thing, didn't he? Like, you know, he was like a prince, everything like that he could ever want.
Who?
Prince Harry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about his story, to be honest.
Yeah. No, he hasn't really like fucked up bad, but like I just say like I feel like he chose his own struggle or created a struggle purposely. That makes sense. Because
Yeah.
at one point, surely there's a place where you cannot ascend further.
No.
There's no place.
I don't think so. There's no place where you can't keep going. Like, you just keep getting better and better and better, and it gets to the point where you get bored, right?
Okay.
That's what I see in like the people who I pay for coaching from. Like, they're just bored. They're like, yeah, I've got it all. Like, may as well just help out these people.
Right.
May as well make some more money. It's like,
Because once you have financial freedom and time freedom and health freedom, then what is there to do?
yeah, it's like you make your own meaning.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with all these people who are at really high levels is they all have different meanings to life. Some of them are like, oh, I just want to enjoy things. Some are like, I just want to experience a thrill as much as possible, adrenaline. Some are like, I just want to help as many people as possible. Some are like, I want to find inner peace and enlightenment. There's so many different meanings that people ascribe to their own lives, and it's totally subjective. You just get to choose it.
Yeah, fair enough. So there's no end.
There's no end. Unless
It's
you
all about the
assume that
journey.
there's an end.
Yeah.
Right? If you tell yourself there's an end, then you'll be like trying to get to that end your whole life, trying to get to that end, and you'll just feel like, oh, I'm not there yet, and then you make it there, and you're like, fuck, yeah, what do I do now? I don't know. But if you just tell yourself there's no end, and I'm just doing it because I love it, I'm doing it for the process, I'm doing it because I'm enjoying everything that I'm going through and experiencing, then you made it instantly.
Well, I think it's been really insightful. We had a lot of fun. Talked about a lot of things. Talked about lighting a fire. Talked about, you know, you went from homelessness to, you know, being financially stable. Talked about getting married for a green card. Talked about Vegas life, Rick Ross, a lot of things that were covered in this podcast. So I think, yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man.
And
Thanks for having me.
thanks to Josiah as well for putting me in touch with you, because like you say, without that relationship, this never happens.
Yep, man.
And without
relationships,
you know, like episode 3, Shaq. So basically, Shaq was the one that came on in episode 3. He's a family friend of mine. Josiah watched that because he's a big basketball guy. Josiah texts me and says, "Can I come on?" I say, "Yeah, sure." He comes on. We have a good chat, and then Josiah posts a story of you, and then I follow you. I see what you're about. I ask Josiah about you. You text me, and here we are.
Thanks, Shaq. Thanks, Josiah.
Yeah.
It's all about connections, man. Relationships. Like, it's
That's the way.
not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely. I think that's a good thing to end the podcast on.
For sure.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, man.
No worries. It's a pleasure. I love learning about this kind of stuff. I feel like I just got like a free course, essentially.
Yeah, man.
And made some good content as well. So yeah, thank you.
It's always good. Oh, also, I brought you a little memento to chuck on your shelf there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a light bulb because, you know, ideas are everything, mindset's everything, and there's no such thing as darkness. There's only light and the lack of light.
Okay.
Right?
I like that.
So just keep shining. Keep shining. That's all there is.
Thanks, bro. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Thank you.
Oh, good to have you.